Welcome back to the Sibling Group Chat. I'm Owen.
And I'm Cassidy.
Today we are back at it with the Odyssey review, episode 55, The Boy Who Didn't Go to Church.
Yes, this is the 61st episode of Adventures in Odyssey. It originally aired on February 11th, 1989, still a part of Album 4, Fundamentals, and in this episode, Jack participates in a unique play about the BODY, or the Brotherhood of Dutiful Youth, and the theme is the importance of church attendance.
Yeah.
So
I get the theme.
Mhm.
They really should have made a better title.
For the episode or for the play?
Yeah, I think for the episode. I think the episode title should have had more to do with the play than about the boy who didn't go to church.
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a play off of The Boy Who Cried Wolf or something else. Like, I feel like it's a play off of something.
Yeah, it could be, and maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah. So, as we told
Anyway.
the audience last week, you have no recollection of this episode. So, after listening to it, did you remember it?
Vaguely. I remember Miss Littman's line about dispensing with the reading of the minutes, because I feel like that gets used in some like flashback or like bonus scene or something.
Interesting. I don't remember it being used anywhere else, but it could be.
That specific line was familiar to me.
Interesting.
Other than that, not too much. I mean, I vaguely remember it, but
It's very familiar to me. And very much so Lucy's part in it, or I See Clearly, if you will. Like, it's just classic Lucy high-pitched voice all throughout. And it very much sticks in my head.
Yeah.
So maybe we should jump into it, in case the audience didn't remember it either.
Maybe we should have done what?
I said maybe we should jump into it, in case the audience didn't remember it either.
Well, I was getting there, and then you cut me off.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Whit and the gang are rehearsing a play that they're going to do at church the next day, and they're rehearsing at Whit's End. Do they call the little theater? Because you got to assume that's where they're at. I don't think they even say that's where they're at, but I mean, you got to assume.
They didn't call it that. And if you remember later in Scattered Seeds, which I think is in album 7, when they do that play, Tom Riley tells Whit that turning that space into a theater was a great idea. So, for whatever reason, they must do more to this space that they're using right now later. Because I think, do they also use this space in Lights Out at Whit's End?
I think so.
So maybe it was set up more as an auditorium, and they make it more of a theater later on. I don't know.
And I almost think the line in the later one, Tom says, turning this auditorium into a theater is one of the best ideas you've ever had, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it maybe is an auditorium.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. So they're waiting to start their rehearsal because Jerry somebody, I didn't catch the last name.
Jerry Webster.
Okay, Jerry Webster. Jerry Webster wasn't there yet, and then so they couldn't start because he had like the main part. So then Jack comes in, see what's going on, and he asks Mr. Whitaker like what's going on, and Mr. Whitaker's a little all over the place because they're trying to set things up and make sure they're ready to go, and Connie's doing Connie things, and Jack asks like what's going on, and it's like, oh, we're rehearsing a play for church tomorrow. It's like, oh, when did they start doing plays at church? He's like, well, the pastor mentioned something about it a couple weeks ago, but Jack's like, well, I haven't been there in a couple weeks, and Mr. Whitaker's like, yeah, I noticed. What's been keeping you? And he says he's been busy.
Yep. Just one of those things.
It's just one of those things,
stuff. Yep, stuff. It makes me wonder, is just Jack not going to church, or is his entire family not coming to church? Because we know his family goes to church.
About Jack's family, so maybe he's the only one that goes to church.
But aren't his parents the ones who told him to go to church cleanup day?
That's true, yeah.
Maybe they just wanted him out of the house, but it gives the impression that they went to church.
It could have also just been Lucy's parents that told him to go to church cleanup day, but I think it was his parents.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jack says that he loves plays and he's even been in a couple, which I think is funny because I didn't realize later Jack does love plays, like
Mm-hmm.
when Jack makes his return to Odyssey as a voice changed older character.
Yeah.
He likes plays, and I never had noticed that that is something that gets mentioned when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I remembered it. Like, I thought the same thing when I heard it in this episode, but I don't know if I've ever thought about it before.
Yeah. Well, and Connie had a phone call, or well, Wits End had a phone call. Connie had answered it. It turns out Jerry isn't going to be able to make it to rehearsal because he's sick, and his mom thinks he'll be fine for church the next day. She thinks it might just be nerves or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Connie says, "Well, I guess we can't rehearse then." And Wit's like, "Well, we can still rehearse. I happen to know a stand-in, Jack." So Jack is going to stand in and read Jerry's part. And so they get ready and they start rehearsal. And they get rolling. And side note, we probably should mention Mr. Whitaker wrote this play. I think he mentions that.
I think so. Does he say they're rehearsing a play he wrote for church? I think is what he tells Jack.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so Jack is reading the main part, which is of John Lafitte.
Mm-hmm. You
He
gotta
is a
love these
member of
names.
I do actually. He's a member of the Brotherhood of Dutiful Youth, or the Body. BODY. Get it?
Yes, we get it.
I was quoting Jackson.
I know, and I was quoting the narrator.
Okay. And their purpose was to help other people. And among the other members of the body were Dora Lippman. Are you listening? Which I have typo because I have Are you Lippman. There's not two Lippmans. Are you listening? I see clearly. Hans Armstrong and Brian Headley.
Yep.
Hans Armstrong sounds like an action figure.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, well, I guess, yeah, that one's like the most real sounding name, I guess you could say. Brian Headley's pretty good too, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so first they dispense with the reading of the minutes. And I'm telling you, I've heard that line somewhere other than in this episode.
Maybe the phrase is used in other places.
No, she's like, first I suggest that we dispense with the reading of the minutes. I mean, we all know what we've done in the past. I'm telling you that's in something else.
I guess we'll find out.
I don't know. Maybe I've heard this episode or just that part of this episode before. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember that line being anywhere else, but time will tell, I suppose.
Anyway, so John Lafitte wants to do something to help the needy people, which seems odd that he would say that because that's apparently the only thing they do. So I don't know why he needed to suggest that.
I think it's just like giving the audience a premise because, yeah, it does very much seem like that's always what they're doing anyway. So I don't know. But maybe this is how all their meetings go, and that's why they're dispensing with the reading of the minutes because they would just be repeating exactly what they're about to do.
Maybe. Basically, Brian Headley and Miss Lippman are the only people who do much talking. I mean, that makes sense because of their names. But yeah, the first thing that they decided they need to do is find them. And then so John volunteers because he wants to do that. But I see clearly that's kind of her lane. John's like, oh, but she always gets to be the lookout. And Mr. Headley's like, well, that's because she's so good at it. And then they say that they need to talk and listen to the people. And so John volunteers again. But it's Miss Lippman and Are You Listening who are picked to have those specific roles because that's their forte. And then they should help them with whatever they need. John volunteers again, but helping people do things, that's Hans Armstrong's line of work. He's the strong man in the group. And so John wants to know what he's supposed to do, and they say they need him to take them places and take them to see the people. And he's like, well, that's always what I do. They're like, well, that's because that's what you're good at. He's like, but I want to do something different. And then Brian Headley says, well, this organization functions best when everybody does what they're really good at, which I understand the meaning, but that is literally true of any organization, group, or team ever.
Yes, but that's driving home the point. because this is a parable, if you will.
Yeah.
It's a parable about a specific organization, but it is true of most organizations.
Right. Well, John wasn't happy, and so when he's going home, he's talking to IC clearly. And on the way home, he says he's tired of the meetings and the group and whatnot. He just wants to be able to do something different. And so he thinks maybe he might leave the group and just go help people on his own, or maybe he'll try to start his own group. And so he decides that he's going to start his own group of people who want to try new things and help people. And so he does. They are the Laffittes.
Yep. You gotta love these voices that just follow John around. I think,
and they just echo everything he says.
yeah, and like there's a lot of mumbling. It's like this would be fun to like listen to and see if you can hear like actual phrases, because you can tell they're saying actual words, but none of it's really very clear. I feel like I can hear Phil Lawler's voice in there. I don't know who the other voices are. Probably just all the other males who were in the studio that day, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Question: did you spell Lafitte with feet in it because that's what the parable's character is, or did you spell it as in like the actual name?
Lafitte? I spelled it with feet in it. I spelled it capital L-A, capital F-E-E-T-E.
Okay. I think I spelled it like 3 different ways. Because my first thing is, because it made me think of the historical pirate Jean Lafitte.
It's a parody of that.
Well, I get that's where the name is a parody of.
Yes.
But that's like, I wanted to spell it like that, and I'm like, you know what? They probably should spell it with the other way.
This is how you know that I know this episode, because this is the Jean Lafitte I think of first. I get that there's also the historical pirate, but I heard of this one first. And then I was like, I see what they did there.
Yeah. So for weeks, the Laffittes went around looking for somebody to help, and they couldn't find anybody, except for they always noticed there was this random guy who was sitting on a bench all the time that they were passing. So one day they finally decided to...
He was a well-dressed man.
Yes, a well-dressed man. So eventually they decided they were going to talk to this well-dressed man on the bench. Makes me think of the man on the street.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Man on the street. Wrong episode. Anyway, so they ask him why he's always sitting on the bench, and the guy says that his house burned down and he worked from home, so he can't work, and he lost everything except for this really nice suit. So now he just sits on the bench in his suit all the time.
Yep. And they're just like, oh man, we're so sorry. Anyway.
We're looking for people to help.
And she's like, you are? And they're like, yeah, can you show us where any are? He's like, oh.
Yeah. And so he says he'll keep an eye out and let them know if he sees anybody. So after a few more weeks of not finding anybody to help, they notice that the guy on the bench is gone. So they go into this diner that they apparently eat lunch at every day and ask Marge. That's her name, right? Marge?
Yes.
Yeah. If she knows what happened to the guy on the bench. She says that the authorities had told him he had to move because the bench was for people waiting for the bus, not for him to live on.
She also tells us...
And he's like, oh. Huh?
She also tells us the man's name.
Oh, what was his name?
Mr. Down and Out.
Oh.
You didn't catch that?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, then John's like, oh, I didn't realize they didn't have a place to live. And she's like, yeah, his house burned down in a fire. He's like, now come to think of it, I think he did mention something about a fire the first time that we talked to him, or the only time as far as we know.
Yeah.
And John couldn't believe that they hadn't helped him because they had talked to the only guy in the area who needed help, and they hadn't helped him out. He hadn't listened, and he'd messed up the listening and talking parts of helping people. And then Marge, the diner owner, sent the Laffittes on an errand to deliver some food, which John did begrudgingly because that's what he had always done, and take people or things to people with the body. But he didn't have anything else to do, so they take the food, and he realized that he felt really good after that. And so after they made their delivery, they noticed how good it felt. He realized that he hadn't been helping people because he hadn't been doing things he was good at. Imagine that.
Yeah, and this whole time,
And so
his followers are just murmuring and agreeing along with him.
And he's like, I've been really dumb. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
So he decides to disband the Laffittes. Hopefully those guys found something else to do with their lives than follow him around.
Whatever they were doing before, I guess.
He goes back to join the body. But he gets there and there's nobody there. And IC clearly comes in, is that the body is broken up.
Yep.
They've all gone their separate ways.
They're all gone, John. Lucy's voice.
Is she trying to have some sort of accent?
That's what I was wondering. She was like, I feel like she was trying to do an accent, but her voice
for like a southern accent or something.
In some of her lines, it did feel like it. But I don't know. I think she's just
gone, John.
Yeah, she's just Lucy is who she is, and that's really the only voice she can do because it's already such a unique voice that it just was like, Lucy, what are you doing?
Yeah. Then, so I didn't write down where they all went.
I didn't
Mr.
either.
Headley is now working for computer programmer.
Yeah, I think so.
Hans Armstrong joined the circus as a strong man. IC clearly is a lifeguard at the beach now.
And Are You Listening is a telephone operator?
Radio
operator. And Miss Littman. What did Miss Littman do?
I don't remember.
Anyway.
Something with talking, I'm sure.
Yes, but I don't remember. Are you sure she did do radio?
Maybe she did radio and Are You Listening did telephone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody did radio.
Yeah.
But anyway, IC had just come to get the last of her things from the body's little meeting place. And so John's like, well, why'd you break up? It was like, because we didn't have anybody to take us to the people who needed help because you were gone. So we couldn't help
Can
people.
I just say, I know we're trying to prove a point and teach a lesson, but if Mr. Headley's only job is to organize what everybody else does, could he not also take them places? Or can they not drive themselves? Because I get the feeling they're all going together anyway. I know we're making a point.
Questioning the playwriting.
I know we're making a point, but if you think about it, I think they'd have been fine.
Can you drive with your head?
No.
Then Mr. Headley can't drive.
Because none of them have feet?
You're thinking way too logically here.
Okay. I will stop.
Although it does beg the question, if John can drive but he can't listen, hear, or see, that could be a problem too.
Yep. But we're making a point.
You're right. We're making a point. Well, since the body broke up, they all went on to other things, but they were all sad because they didn't have the body.
Womp, 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 womp.
End of story.
Mm-hmm.
So rehearsal is over, and Jack went to go talk to Mr. Whitaker. He's like, so this play ends on a real downer.
Yep.
It's like, yep, that's intentional. He's like, are you sure you want to do it at church? He's like, well, yeah, the people at church are the ones who need to hear it. It's about them. It's like, it's about the body of believers and how when one person decides to stop coming because they get tired of something or they don't like something, then it can negatively affect the rest of the body. And obviously, like, the play is slightly to the extreme where, like, just because somebody stops going to church, it doesn't mean that the entire church is going to disband.
Most likely not.
But he's making the point that the body of believers needs everybody because we all have a role to play.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can tell Jack is, getting the hint.
He's starting to get the point, right? So then, as he's leaving, Miss Whitaker says, Jack, will I see you at church tomorrow? And Jack said he'll be there. So Jack went back to church.
Jack learned his lesson. Also, this is, again, probably overthinking things a bit too much, but I think the people who most need to hear this probably aren't going to be at Sunday night church.
It's true.
But everyone needs this reminder. Even if you're going to church every Sunday, sometimes you need that reminder that you're still a part of the body and you need to be doing things.
Mm-hmm. But I would agree the people who need to hear messages like that aren't the ones who will be at church anyway, especially not on a Sunday night.
Yeah. At least not now. Maybe in 1989, it was a little different.
Could have been.
We also
I wasn't alive.
Me neither. We also grew up at a church that did not have a Sunday night service, so there's that.
And yeah, that's the outro. Chris reads from 1 Corinthians 12:5 about each member of the body caring for one another and suffering together and rejoicing together.
I think it's 25 and 26, but yeah.
She said 12:5.
I thought she said 12, 25, and 26, but I could be wrong. Yes, the ever. I feel like we're looking up something in at least every video or podcast.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. We are fact-checking some of the things we say. Not all, but some.
Yeah, it is 25 and 26. You're right.
Pretty sure.
I misheard.
That's okay. Well, because she just says 25, and then she says, and then later in 26, Chris, why didn't you just say 25 and 26?
Because. Anyway, yeah, that does it for Jean Lafitte and his body.
Yep, good lesson.
And we'll be back with another episode. What is next week's?
Next week's is Let This Mind Be in You, which, off the top of my head, I don't remember what that's about, but I think the cover art on the club had Connie and Eugene on it, which doesn't help me. Maybe, is that the one? It might be the one when Mr. Whitaker leaves town, and they have to run Wits End without him.
Paint?
Yes, the one with the paint. I was actually just thinking of that episode
Like
recently.
trying to think of things to do while he's gone.
Yes.
It could be that one.
That's a good one. Yes. I hope it's that one now, because I'm excited. I haven't listened to that in a long time.
Well, we shall see. Hopefully it may be that one, and we will be back next week. We thank you for watching and or listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe wherever you get the podcast. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye.